Hello, beautiful sacred souls. In this video series, we have been exploring the concepts around vibration and spirituality. And in this specific episode, we're going to discuss how religion has weaponized shame. My name is Allison Batty-Capps of Blossoming Heart Wellness and author of The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World. And today we are exploring a topic that touches many of us deeply: how shame became a foundational tool in institutional religion, and how this has affected our connection to not only God, but to ourselves, to each other, and how it has affected our nervous systems. This is a script I've written, but I hope you'll stay tuned. This is important information. So this channel explores healing, trauma recovery, spirituality, and consciousness through a trauma-informed, psychologically grounded lens. What I share comes from my own lived experience, my education, my healing journey, and my understanding of neuroscience, trauma, and spiritual integration. Nothing here is meant to be seen as absolute truth or dogma. It is merely my perspective based on my experiences. Nothing here is meant to diagnose, replace therapy, medical care, or your own discernment. I invite you instead to take what resonates and to leave what doesn't. I believe that you are always your own authority on your own experience. You may hear me use spiritual language, symbolic imagery, or speak about mystical experiences. Spiritual experiences can be meaningful and real, and they must always be held with grounding, discernment, and nervous system safety. If anything you hear activates fear, urgency, grandiosity, contraction, or distress, that is a sign to pause, to ground, and to seek support, not to push through. In my experience, that is an indication that something in your unconscious or your psyche is coming to the surface to be witnessed, integrated, and healed. My intention is not to awaken, to save, or to heal anyone, but to share what has helped me reconnect with my body, helped me heal, helped me gain more agency, helped with my sovereignty, my humanity, and my inner divinity. You get to decide for yourself what supports you on your own path. That said, something I say may support your awakening or your healing journey. Let's begin. Did you know that Jesus taught unity and institutions taught dependence? The teachings of Jesus, or Yeshua, as his name is in the original Aramaic, in their original context based on scholars and research I have done, focused on direct connection to the divine. Teachings such as the kingdom is within you implies that the divine is within you. I explore this in my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World. The same is true in the teaching, you are the light of the world. This implies that the divine is within you, that you are the light. These teachings invite personal empowerment and direct communion and the realization that divinity exists inside each of us. But if you study history of religions, you will actually see that religious institutions formed, and as they formed, the original spiritual messages were often reframed into systems of control and, yes, dependence. The teachings instead became things such as, you are inherently sinful. Only we, meaning the church, can forgive you. Your salvation depends on our authority, again, meaning the church. From a trauma-informed perspective, this is significant because these are shame-based systems which actually hijack the nervous system. When people are taught that they are fundamentally bad or unworthy, their nervous system moves naturally into freeze, collapse, and hypervigilance. The body interprets connection to God as conditional, and the body actually learns to fear God instead of feeling a connection to God. People, instead of having agency and the ability to trust their own inner guidance and develop their own discernment, instead they learn to surrender agency and stop trusting their own inner guidance, seeking external validation and morality from others, giving their power away. Historically, these systems served political and social control. Don't take this as absolute truth. Do your own research on how religion was formed based on studying scholars. By creating fear and dependence, hierarchical structures ensured obedience, loyalty, and predictable behavior, rather than encouraging spiritual awakening, personal empowerment, or spiritual discernment. I have seen that shame-based systems actually disconnect you from your true self, and I have seen this through my work with clients. Shame is one of the most profound forms of spiritual disconnection. When a person believes that they are inherently flawed, they begin to suppress their intuition. They begin to fear their inner voice will lead them astray. They avoid self-expression, thinking that their feelings are somehow bad or dangerous, rather than sacred messengers informing them of when a need or a boundary has been crossed. They begin to project responsibility outward, relying on external authority for validation or forgiveness, or to tell them what is right and wrong, and they stop developing discernment for themselves about what causes harm to self or other. For example, consider the teaching, "Forgive as I forgive you." While forgiveness is powerful, if framed coercively, it can actually silence the victim and protect the abuser. People are taught to forgive before they've processed or felt their pain, or before they have tried to hold the abuser accountable for their action. This allows the abuser to get away with causing harm. This is actually a form of spiritual bypassing, not true liberation. A trauma-informed perspective reminds us that healing is not about erasing pain or denying your experience. It is actually about witnessing it, feeling it safely, and reclaiming your agency so you can set boundaries with your abuser, rather than continuing to allow an abuser to cause you harm. Healing restores direct communion with the divine. You were never truly separate from the divine. Instead, you were taught separation, often through generations of trauma that institutions reinforced. Again, don't take this teaching as absolute truth. I invite you to experience this truth for yourself. And the way to experience this truth for yourself is through healing, which I believe restores your innate connection. So when you become the inner witness, you can observe shame and fear or guilt without identifying with it. This helps you to embody connection through practices such as breath and movement and meditation. This actually helps your nervous system regulate so the mind and body feel safe in divine presence. This can actually help you to have experiences that are mystical in nature, that can help you to connect with what I believe is the divine within you. This enables you to reclaim agency so that you can make conscious choices rather than reacting from unresolved pain, and rather than following imposed rules that others have told you is absolute truth. So let's put this into practice. I invite you to place a hand on your heart. I invite you to inhale slowly. I invite you to whisper to yourself, "My connection to the divine is innate, not earned." And notice what you observe internally. I invite you to repeat this daily, especially when old shame patterns arise. And just notice how your body begins to experience this phrase. Healing rewires the nervous system, and it can help you reclaim your birthright of divinity. As you begin to model it for others, help you interrupt cycles of shame and dependence within your family lineage. Understanding the shadow of religious conditioning is important because many of us carry internalized religious shame. We feel guilt over natural human impulses. We fear failure or judgment because of the human experience and the way that the body and nervous system respond to trauma. We feel conflicted relationship with our body, our sexuality, and our emotional expression. These internalized messages create shadow patterns of self-criticism, perfectionism, avoidance of vulnerability, and they prevent us from shifting and changing patterns within ourselves, and they prevent us from holding others accountable for patterns that are unhealthy in others. From a trauma-informed perspective, recognizing these as learned protective strategies rather than moral failings helps us heal and shift them. When we compassionately witness these things within ourselves before trying to fix or suppress them, we are able to understand why they're there and thereby heal them. Integration occurs when we intentionally choose actions aligned with love, wisdom, and agency. Remember, divine connection is unconditional. Healing is not optional. It is the reclaiming of your inherent worth and sovereignty. Again, don't believe me because I'm telling you this is true. Instead, I invite you to explore practices that help you experience this truth. And these practices can be found in my book. Returning to your divinity is a birthright. Mystical experiences, symbolic dreams, and spiritual insights are deeply personal, as is healing. They are best understood slowly, with grounding, and often with professional or community support. True spiritual growth and healing does not disconnect you from reality. It helps you inhabit it more fully. I do not offer private spiritual guidance, diagnoses, or personal interpretations through comments or messages, nor do I engage in personal relationships through social media or email. If you are navigating intense emotional or psychological experiences, I invite you to seek trauma-informed professional care or trusted support. If you have ever felt stuck in patterns that you just can't seem to break, my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, is for anyone ready to explore how inner healing transforms not just your life, but the world around you. It's full of practical tools and insights to help you notice and release old trauma patterns, to strengthen your nervous system, and to connect with your inner wisdom. If you're ready to start this journey of self-discovery, the book is a gentle guide to help you take that first step. You can find it on Amazon and other online platforms. My online course based on the Divine Within is a more in-depth resource to support your healing journey with additional bonus content. And I offer mentorship through blossomingheartwellness.com. If you found this video helpful, I hope you'll consider watching other videos. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my YouTube channel or my social media accounts. And I invite you to share this message with anyone that you think might benefit from it. I'm sending you so much love and appreciation for who you are and where you are on your healing journey.